Okay, welcome George Spice. I hope you had a good half-term break. This is week 6 maths pack, and let's get straight to it with some fractions. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is improper fractions to mixed number fractions. So here we've got 9/4, 9/4. Okay, so that's an improper fraction. Why is it an improper fraction? Because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So we need to convert that now into a mixed number fraction. Now how we do that is we take our 9 and we divide it by 4. So how many times does 4 go into 9? Well, 4 goes into 9 twice with 1/4 remaining. So we know we have 2 wholes and 1/4. Now our denominator will always remain the same. It will never change, but we have 2 wholes and 1/4. Now how can we check that? Well, let's look at it as a picture and see if we can double check it through that. So I've got pizzas here, and as my denominator is 4, I've cut them into 4 pieces. Okay, so here I have 2 whole pizzas and 1/4 of a pizza. So here's my 2 wholes and there's my 1/4. So let's now count them, and if we count each of the fourths, each of the quarters, we should have 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9/4. Okay, so that means that 9/4, which is our improper fraction, as a mixed number, is 2 and 1/4, alternatively 2 and 1/4. Okay, so we've just looked at improper fractions to mixed numbers. Now we're looking at the other way around, mixed number to improper fractions. So our mixed number is 3 and 2/6. Okay, and we've got that drawn out here. We've got 3 whole pizzas chopped into 6 slices, and the 2/6 here. Now we need to know what that is as an improper fraction. So what we do is we times our denominator by the whole number. So 6 times 3. Now if we know our times tables, we know that 6 times 3 equals 18. And then we have to add our 18 to the numerator, which is 2. So 18 plus 2, which equals 20. So I should have 20/6, so 26. And I'm just going to double check through my picture, because here we have 3 and 2/6. So here it is as a mixed number. Now let's double check it as an improper fraction to check we are correct. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So there we go, we have 26. Okay, now we're going to look at ordering fractions. We'll start nice and simple, fractions with the same denominator. Now, when you get a question like this in the test, it's really important to look at how they want you to order it. Sometimes they might say order the fractions in ascending order, sometimes in descending order. Ascending order means you start with the smallest and you work up to the biggest. Descending is the opposite way round. You start with the biggest fraction and you work down to the smallest. Now, we know all our denominators are fifths. So this one is nice and easy. We know all our denominators are fifths. And we can start now looking at our numerators. Now the smallest, because we're going to do it in ascending order. So we're starting with the smallest, going to the biggest. Our smallest is 1/5. fifth, because 1 is our smallest numerator, so we can tick that off. Our next smallest numerator, 3, 2, 4, 2. Tick that off. 2 fifths, 4 and 3. We know that 3 is smaller than 4. And our largest, 4 fifths. So just double check that. 1 fifth, 2 fifths, 3 fifths, and 4 fifths. Yep, we know that that's starting our smallest, ending with our largest. So I have ordered them in ascending order. Now, once again, we're ordering in ascending order, starting with our smallest, ending with our largest. But this time, we've thrown a bit of a spanner in the works. We've got different denominators. So what we need to do is we need to find our lowest common denominator. So the lowest number that these all go into. Now, we can see here, we got 5, we got 10, and we got 20. Now, I know from my times tables that both 5 and 10 go into 20. So now we need to rewrite them. Now that one can stay the same because we're going to make 20, so that one's not going to change. How many times do we have to times 10 by to get 20? Well, we know that 10 times 2 equals 20. And whatever we do to our denominator, we must do to our numerator. So if we've times 10 by 2 to get to 20, we must times 3 by 2. So that gives us 6/20. Now, what about the 5? Well, we know that 5 times 4 will give us 20. So if whatever we've done to our denominator, we then must do to our numerator. So we must do 4 times 4, which gives us 16. But these aren't in order. Now we need to order them. We've now got them all with the same denominator. So we now know we can begin the ordering process. Our denominator is 20 for all of them now. We're doing 20ths. So our smallest numerator are, there we go, 6. So that is our smallest. Our second smallest is 7. And our largest is 16/20. Now, we can look back at that and we can rewrite that how they would be originally. Now, we know that the smallest is 6/20, which originally came from 3/10. Our second smallest, or our middle one, was 7/20. Now, that was always 7/20. We didn't change that. And our largest, 16/20, came from 4/5. So if we look at it now, we've got 3/10 as our smallest, 7/20 as our middle, and 4/5 as our largest fraction. So now we're again ordering fractions in ascending order. So starting with the smallest, going to the largest. But here we've got a mixture. We've got some improper fractions, some mixed number fractions, and some standard fractions. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to convert them to improper fractions. 4/5 can stay as it is, 11/5 can stay as it is. So we know that what we learned earlier, we need to times 2 by 5, which is 10, and then add that 10 to our numerator, which is 3. So 10 plus 3 is 13. So we now have 13/5, 11/5, and 4/5. So now we need to order these in ascending order. So starting with our smallest is 4/5. Then we move on to 11/5. And then we move on to 13/5. Now I'm going to bring them back to how they were originally. So we know that 4/5 is our smallest, and that's how it was originally. 11/5 is in the middle, and that's how it was originally. We've been joined by the legendary Harold II class mascot herself, Misty. Say hello to children of George Spicer. No, apologies. And then we go to our biggest one, which was 13/5, which originated from 2 and 3/5. So if we look at it now, we've got 4/5, 11/5, and 2 and 3/5 as our biggest. So now we're looking at, again, ordering fractions in ascending order, but this time we've got mixed number fractions and improper fractions, but one of our mixed numbers has got a different denominator to the other. So now we're getting that real tricky challenge. So we've got 3 and 1/4, 15/4, and 1 and 3/8. Okay, so the first thing I need to do, I'm going to convert them to make it easier for me into improper fractions. So here we have 13/4 or 13/4. That one can stay as it is, 15/4, and 11/8. Now, just reminding you of how I do that. I know that 4 times 3 equals 12, and then 12 plus my 1 of my numerator equals 13, and likewise on here, 8 times 1 is 8, plus the 3 of my numerator gives me 11. Now, I need to make them all the same denominator. Now, I know that 4 goes into 8. These two are both 4. That is 8. So I'm going to use 8 as my lowest common denominator. So 11 out of 8 can stay as it is. How many times do I times 4 to get 8? I times 4 by 2. So therefore, I need to times 15 by 2, which gives me 30/8, or 38. The same with this one. How many times do I times 4 to get to 8? I times 4 by 2. So 4 times 2 equals 8. And then I look at my improper fraction. If I times 4 by 2 to get to 8, I need to times 13 by 2, which gives me 26/8. Okay, so now I can order them. We know that 11/8 is my smallest. 26/8 is my middle one, and 38 is my biggest. But now I'm going to bring them back to how they were originally. Now I know that 11/8, which is my smallest, was 1 and 3/8, because I've got that recorded down. That's why it's always good to show you're working out. I know that the next one, 26/8, well, let's have a look which one was 26/8. Yes, it was 3 and 1/4. And lastly, my biggest one, which was 15/4. And that stays as it is because that was an improper fraction to start off with. Okay, hope that's helped with your pack and the focus of fractions. And good luck. Hope you have a great rest of the half term. And good luck with the pack next week. Stay safe.